Well, let's go ahead and get this podcast started. I, told myself I was going to do, I think I knocked it down. I'm going to do one a week. So I was driving today in the car to a couple appointments, and I was thinking about this thing that I want to talk about today, the 5 Ps. And you're probably like, dude, what are you talking about? Ps, what does that mean? Well, we'll get to it. But it's interesting. A lot of times I do these, I do the mindset minutes and I pull over in the car and I do a video, and I cannot get this in under 2 minutes. So I'll do either a minute or a 2-minute video, and I just could not get it down under 2 minutes. So I was like, I tried, and it'd be like 2:05, 2:10. I would stumble my words. And so I said, okay, well, this will be a perfect opportunity, since I have not done a podcast in about a week, to put this in a podcast. So that's what I'm going to do in regards to talking about the 5 Ps. So this will be, a perfect little thing to listen to on a commute, wherever you may be, in a workout, whatever it might be. You can listen to this podcast. So let's get to it. So the 5 Ps, and what I want to talk about is we are going to talk about plan, perspiration, persistence, patience, and prayer. So those are the 5 Ps and what that actually means in our life. So, so much of the reason why, I think I've said this before, that I do these podcasts, morning, afternoon, Pamela. I'm used to doing these podcasts in the morning, so sometimes I'll say good morning. Is for a little bit of motivation for myself, a little bit to get myself motivated, to hold myself accountable. And it's interesting. So, a lot of this is just kind of sharing my heart, my thoughts, my ideas that hopefully will benefit you. It helps me to share this. It helps me to understand a little bit more when I share. So let's talk about the 5 Ps. And really this is, in regards to anything in life, anything that you're trying to pursue, anything that you're trying to change in your life, maybe a little bit more motivation, whatever it may be. These are important and I think key ingredients that we must have when we are in pursuit of certain things, or we are trying to change certain things about ourselves, maybe our relationships, maybe different things, just the growth and the natural progression of life. So number 1 is to plan. That's the first P. You got to have a plan. Whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whether that's in your, trying to have a better marriage, whether you're trying to maybe get in better shape, whether that's trying to, make more income, whatever it is, you got to have a plan. You got to know what it is that you need to do in the day, and you got to have a plan. That's incredibly important. And I talk about this all the time, is too often I think we complicate plans. But you have to have a plan. I think it's Zig Ziglar talks about, how can you hit a target you do not have? How can you hit a target you do not see? You got to have a target. You got to have a plan. You got to know what it is that you're trying to achieve. And then you have to put a plan in place, a lot of Ps, to achieve it. Nick, what's going on, man? It's one of my old college tennis roommates. So good to see him. But you got to have a plan, guys. And no matter what it is, you have to have a plan. You have to know what it is that you need to get done in the day that's going to take you towards that desired destination. And I talk about this all the time, is we don't need to complicate it. We don't need to get it all crazy, right? A lot of people want to lose a certain amount of weight, or you want to get in shape. You could keep it real simple. Just don't put any crap in your mouth. Don't eat bad food, and then just work out. That's a plan. Some people think, well, that's not a really elaborate plan. Well, that's sometimes I think where we get in the idea of we over plan, and then it's an excuse to not get done, right? You talk about that, like, well, I want to lose, weight, but I don't know which gym I should go to. I know this one is that amount of money. This one's open 24 hours. I'm not sure with COVID if that one's open. Should I get a trainer? Should I not get a trainer? Right? And sometimes we can over plan, which then talks us out of actually moving forward. A lot of times what we need to do is just keep it simple, but at least you got to have a plan. You got to write it down. I'm a big believer in writing it down. You got to know what you got to do, right? Sometimes in our relationships, I think we overcomplicate it. It's overcomplicated enough. It's going to be challenging enough, right? Just keep it simple. If it's just as simple as, you know what, I'm going to say 3 kind words to my spouse today. That's a plan. It's a simple plan. And sometimes the simpler the plan, the easier it is for us to execute it. I think that's sometimes where we overcomplicate things, we overthink things, and then we don't go to work. So that's the first P. You have to plan. Number 2, the second P is perspiration. Perspiration. Basically what that means is you got to get to work on your plan. That so much of I think life, of progress in life, is swimming against the stream, right? It's going to take work. It's going to take effort. It's going to take doing things that you don't want to do. The most of the time, the things that we're trying to achieve in life, whether that is better health, whether that is more of an income, whether that is a better relationship, whatever it is, a lot of times those things that we have to do take effort. They're not comfortable, right? Our body naturally wants to go to comfort, right? And it doesn't want to take the risk. It doesn't want to do things that's going to make it work or make it perspire or cause stress or all these different things. Now, maybe stress isn't the best word, but we're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable. And that's the P, perspiration. We're going to have to work, whether that's mentally, physically, and really both, right? I mean, you're going to have to mentally get yourself going, mentally strain yourself to maybe get out of bed or take that run or do the thing that you need to do or the conversation that you need to have, right? You're going to have to work. So it's going to take discipline. You're going to have to do the things that you don't want to do. It's interesting. I saw this quote from Mark Twain. I don't know that it's necessarily the great one, but he talks about the only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want to eat, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. I don't know if that's the most positive mindset, but I think it's a pretty interesting quote from Mark Twain. A lot of that stuff, if we want to pursue certain things or go after certain things, we're going to have to do stuff that we don't want to do. So that's what we're going to do, perspiration. Number 3 is persistence. Number 3 is persistence. Another word for that is relentlessness, right? You're going to have to be persistent. Success does not happen overnight. It's going to take a lot of work. Anything worthwhile is going to be uphill. It's going to be a challenge. You're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to be fearful. You're going to fail at certain times, right? And it's being persistent and being persistent in pursuing what it is that you want, the relationship that you want, maybe the career that you want, maybe the health that you desire. It's not going to happen overnight. And you're going to have to be incredibly, incredibly persistent. And most people aren't. And I struggle with this from time to time. I mean, I wouldn't say time to time, but all the time of not being persistent, right? And quitting. And we have to understand that these things that we are going to want to do are going to take time. It could take 2 years. It could take 3 years. It could take 10 years. It could take 15. I'm not sure what it is, but you have to be persistent. You cannot let these little failures and these little things, make you quit or stop. You got to be persistent, and really that persistence is daily. I love what John Maxwell says. He says it's better to do the right thing every day than the right thing some days. And really that's living with intentionality, and that's living with consistency. And that's where that persistence comes in. Every single day in those most important areas of our life, or those things that matter to us most, we're persistent in the disciplines and the activities that are taking us towards, that desired or destination or that desired person of who we want to be. But we have to be persistent. It's going to be huge. You can't stop and start. We talked about that. I've done that before, and if you're watching online, you can see that. I know that Zig Ziglar talked about, the well pump. Back in the day, you have to pump the well. You had to crank the well. You had to crank it really, really, really hard to get the water to come up from the bottom of the well. But once it started flowing out, you could do it at a much easier pace. But you had to be persistent. If you stopped, the water would go back down, and then you'd have to crank really, really hard again to get the water to start to flow, or the results to start to flow or whatever it may be. And then you could just be, consistent or persistent in that activity. And that's what we need to do. So that is number 3 of the P's. Number 4 is patient. You got to be patient. Okay, this is so incredibly important, So not only do you have to plan, not only do you have to perspire, work, do the effort, you have to be persistent, but then you got to be patient. It's kind of what I was just talking about a little bit, is you got to be patient. It's going to take time. It's going to take that effort, that persistency over a long period of time that's going to give you the results. And that's a big thing, is most of us are not patient. We want to see immediate results. We go to the gym and we work out for a month and we don't lose the weight that we want to lose. So then we say this isn't working, and then we stop. And then we start to feel bad about ourselves again, and we say, oh, I need to lose more weight. And then we go back and we try again, and we're not patient enough, right? We're not patient. This stuff takes time. It takes time, anything, and sometimes we may not see. Most of the time we're not going to see the results right away. If we did, that would help us to be more patient. But a lot of times we're not going to see the things that we want to see. It really, it makes me think about the bamboo tree. And I don't know exactly the story, but I think it's 5 years where it doesn't do anything. It's just germinating, if that's the word, in the soil. And then there's that time after 5 years where all of a sudden, in like a month or 2 months or 3, somebody may know this more than me, it shoots like 90 feet. See, but it was doing its thing. It was doing its things for 5 years, and then all of a sudden, being patient, right, waiting that out, being persistent in what it is it was doing, then all of a sudden it grew, and that's really what we need to do. I think we need to be patient. We need to understand that this stuff takes time. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. And then the last P, I think, is prayer. Prayer is so important. I think to pray for God for his strength, to pray to God for guidance, to pray for thankfulness, in pursuit of what it is that you're trying to pursue, that you remain thankful, that you remain humble, that you're doing his will every single day and loving and serving others in pursuit of maybe what it is that you're trying to. My Wi-Fi went out for a little bit. It's incredibly important to, I think, start the day, finish the day, go out throughout the day with prayer, is to really to ask for that, like I said, that thankfulness in pursuit of what it is that you're trying to pursue, that you're asking for, like I said, that guidance. It's incredibly, incredibly important, because sometimes we can pursue things and they're for maybe the wrong reasons, right? And it's from an unthankful heart and from an unthankful place, and we can hurt people that we love in pursuit of that. The things when we're not aware of what it is that we're trying to achieve, and how this may affect the people that we love. And like I said, when we go through these things, when we plan and we perspire and we show persistence and patience, all this stuff takes a lot of work. And we're going to make sure that in the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, that we're coming back to prayer and thankfulness and that relationship and that connection to our Heavenly Father, to keep that close, because that's going to be important, I think, in any pursuit that you do. So hopefully that helped guide the five P's. Wanted to get it out, need to do a podcast. So number 1 is plan. You got to have a plan. You got to know what it is, what you need to do on a daily basis to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve, whether that's in your marriage, relationship, your business, your health, parenting. Okay. And then you got to work. You got to perspire. Number 2, second P, you got to get it. You got to perspire. Number 3 is you got to be persistent. You got to be persistent. It's not going to be easy. You got to do the things you don't want to do every single day. It's like we're swimming upstream, but you got to get it done. Then you got to be patient. You got to wait. Don't expect results right away. Okay? Keep your expectations a little bit low in the beginning, right? Know it's going to take some work. And then prayer, and then pray every single day. So hopefully that helped, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Also want to let you know, too, Walks of Mr. Smith, that book that I wrote, is out on audiobook, so it should be out most everywhere now and or pretty soon. So I'm super pumped on that. This is a great read, and then got it in audio form, which I'm excited about because when I'm listening to it, I like what I wrote. I think I wrote that 11 years ago, and I still like what I wrote, which is good. And it's cool too. I got somebody to narrate it in an English accent, and I always liked that because I remember when it was my dad, we used to listen to the Sherlock Holmes audio cassettes, and that was in that accent, and I always liked that. So that's why I had it done in a British accent. So you guys have a good day. Thanks for listening. Bye. See you guys.